Hey guys, this is the next video on selling shares. This is quite similar to the buying shares, except obviously you're receiving money this time. When selling shares, you once again have a consideration, which is the number of shares sold times with the selling price per the share. But this time, because you're not carrying out the transaction yourself, just like before, you have to pay for the brokerage and the GST on the brokerage from the money that you would see from the consideration. So you're not going to get your full consideration from selling it. It's going to be reduced a little bit by the brokerage you have to pay and the GST. So when shares are sold, you receive, unlike before where it was you pay for when you're buying them. When you're selling them, you receive the consideration, which is the total value of shares being sold, number of shares times by the selling price. But this time it's minus the brokerage, which is the brokerage fee, usually percent, sometimes a straight up number. And you also minus the GST from that, which is a tax of 10% on the brokerage. So the best way to show this would be to do an example. Again, we've got Telstra shares, but they're a bit more, they're worth a bit more. So hopefully you're trying to sell at a profit. What would you get for selling 1,200 Telstra shares for $5.95 each with a brokerage of 2% or a minimum of $70? So your consideration again is the number of shares, 1,200 times by the selling price each, $5.95. And if we work that out, 12 times by 5.95, that's going to come to a consideration of $71.40. Now we need to work out the brokerage, which is going to be 2% or a minimum of $70. I'm pretty sure that the 2% of $71.40 is going to be more than 70, so let's work that out. 0.02 times by $71.40. I'll draw an arrow again to remind you that it's calculated off the consideration. So yes, it's going to be $142.80. So yes, more than the $70 minimum. And the GST is 10% of that. So 142.80 times by 0.1 for the GST. And that's going to be $14.28. So, unlike before, you are taking these two away. So, it's often good to give yourself a reminder that you're minusing these. Because before you were working out the total that you're paying for the shares, now one of them is actually a return. You're getting this one back, but you're taking away the brokerage and the GST from that amount, because that's the fee that you needed to pay for getting this transaction done. So be careful. You're doing $71.40, the top number. Take $142.80. Take 14.28, and so you should have 6982.92. So you'll notice when you're doing the buying the shares, this number is always bigger. When you're selling the shares, this number should be smaller, because it is the consideration take away the brokerage fee and the GST cut that the government takes. So that's how much you would have gotten for selling 1,200 Telstra shares at $5.95 each with a brokerage of 2%. So that is the selling of shares. Hopefully that's helpful to you, and I'll see you in the next video.